The Office of Community Outreach is our university's version of a broader impacts office. We don't call it that because we do other things in outreach as well, but we have what we call a broader impacts initiative. And that started for us about 4 years ago when my boss, the VPR, came to me and said, Joe, I want you to look at broader impacts in the context of NSF and figure out what outreach can do to help with that, help facilitate that. So I did. I went and studied it, and I came back to him. And what I told him is, I said, is if all we're talking about is using outreach in my office to help PIs write that broader impact section of their proposal, we'll do that. Is it interesting to me? Not particularly. On the other hand, if we can talk about building an institutional approach to that concept of broader impacts, if we can talk about taking it to an interdisciplinary level, then I am interested in that. That's it. That's exciting to me. And so from the very beginning, that's the way we approach that concept of broader impacts, an institution-wide approach to that. But we start out with many of the traditional things that you see in broader impact support offices. We built a website, a broader impacts website that has resources for PIs, a library and a toolkit, and web stories of good examples of broader impacts initiatives. We have mechanisms in there for faculty, for us to help faculty get matched up with community entities because we're already connected. And all that had considerable value. Even things like the guiding principles from NABI, that's a really good tool, especially for early career PIs to go and start understanding that concept. And of course, through that website and through other things, faculty workshops, we invited faculty to engage with us and help them come up with their plan. But one of the things I noticed early on was that too often a good faculty member would call me or whatever, make an appointment, they'd come in and they'd be working on a proposal. They're all done with the intellectual merit and they had it down cold, and then they would come and say, okay, now I'm ready to do the broader impact section. What do I put in there? And it's due next Friday, right? It's like, I can help you a little bit, but that's putting the cart before the horse. And so we started trying to educate and work with that on backing that up, asking them to invite us or me into the proposal process earlier. That helps. But I still felt like there was more that we could do. And so we started playing with this idea of building what I call a community of practice. Just calling it that, of people, faculty, and staff who had a desire to make an impact in the community, to leave a legacy of some kind, and to identify and connect with those people across campus, and to find some way to facilitate that and help them. And so we came up with this idea for what we call Impact Multipliers, and it's an internal funding award basically. But going back to the Office of Community Outreach and the other things we do, one of the things we do is career and professional education. So that's a program where we deliver online courses, not for semester credit, online courses, corporate training, whatever. The goal of that, which predates broader impacts for us by a number of years, is about workforce development, right? But does it return revenue? You bet it does. We need it to. And so we started thinking about, well, how can we use some of that revenue to foster this community practice, to get into this impact multiplier? And so that's what we did. We sent out an invitation. We worked up an application that mirrored what an application might look like for NSF or any other of the majors, and just invited anybody, faculty or staff, that had an idea for a community project, anything that would benefit the community, to submit that application. And then we built a selection committee to review those and started making some awards, small awards. The first one we did 2 awards for $2,500 each. Why $2,500? The only reason we picked that number is that we run some youth programs, and I happen to know that you can run a really good 1-week youth program on our campus for about $2,500, and you can touch 20 or 25 kids in a meaningful way for that amount of money. And so I said, well, let's see what kind of ideas we can come up with for $2,500. And when we started publicizing this, and I started talking to other people across campus, because I had no idea what kind of response they would get, I was told, well, you might get, 10 or 12 applications. We got 32 applications the first time, and most of them were really good. And to me, the first round was a proof of concept, because what I have been telling my boss and other people is that I believe we had a lot of people, faculty included, that had a heart for service and wanted to do something in the community, but just needed a little push and a little help and a way to put that plan on paper, and of course the funding to do it. So we've repeated that, and what it does, I think, that relates specifically to sort of this conference and broader impacts, is that some of those faculty that I have met with before, they do that project, and it gets them to a comfort level with that piece of their work, and it also gives them that resume, that experience that they can refer to when they're describing their capabilities for broader impact. So we've done it. We did 2 for $2,500 the first year. We just now did 2 at $5,000. And one of the things that I've really been impressed with was again, the quality of many of the proposals and the breadth, the variety of initiatives. So that's Impact Multiplier. And again, of course, the idea is the impact is implicit, but multiplier, we really like programs that have the potential to ripple out into the community for years to come, and that's what broader impacts is about. So it's almost like a microcosm of that concept. The next step for that, I believe, is to leverage that program with community funding agents and get into matching programs. And the beginning of it has been very strong. I feel like 5-10 years from now, it could be something really big for Corpus Christi in our community.